When Bianca Andreescu and Denis Shapovalov battle for the National Bank Open Trophy in Montreal and Toronto next month, they will not be competing for the same prize money. But Tennis Canada says that's going to change, albeit in 10 years. The tournament says it will offer equal pay for women and men's athletes by 2027. And Canada's Women's Tennis Association says pay equity will be achieved for all major tournaments by 2033. Gavin Ziv is Chief Tournament Officer of Tennis Canada. He joins us this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
So this move towards pay equity won't fully be felt for several years. Next month's tournament has an 8.8 million Canadian in prize money for men. That's according to ATP. The WTA lists 3.7 million for women. So while the tournament will achieve pay equity in 2027, other top-rung tournaments will not until, as we mentioned, 2023 or 2033. What are the reasons for this timeline?
Yeah, so this is part of a whole new structure for women's tennis through the WTA, the Women's Tennis Association, and it's great news for international tennis for women and for Canadian tennis fans as well. Basically, it's a new structure for women's tennis, and they've converted the bigger events to make them even bigger and mandatory, so all the top players are playing those events, which is a similar model to what they've done on men's tennis, and will change the commercial model, which will allow for more money to go back into prize money. But it'll take some time, right? So those events have to grow. We're part of 10 events around the world that'll be going to 2-week-long events. Right now we're 1 week, and that will start in 25. And by 27, we'll be at the same pay for both men and women.
The big question that comes up all the time, and I'm sure you get this as well, is why? Why is there such a disparity in the first place?
Yeah, listen, the WTA turns 50 this year. It's been a long, long way for women's tennis to try and get to that same level on prize money. And so, this does take time. Why is there a big difference in this? Basically, it's the revenue of the sport, especially on the commercial dollars for TV rights. Men and women's TV rights are just sold differently around the world and haven't achieved the same dollars on the women's side as the men have done on that. A big disparity. So this new commercial model will help generate more revenues, especially on TV rights and streaming for all fans around the world, and put more money into the ecosystem to make it a sustainable approach for all the tournaments out there.
So if I understand you correctly, the idea is to get more people watching so that they can sell it differently, so that they can offer a bit bigger prize money. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and actually the TV ratings are quite good. It's just the way it's been sold around the world hasn't been done that way. WTA has created a new commercial structure that will focus solely on commercializing the sport and doing a better job of doing that, which will make a big difference for us. And in Canada, the TV ratings are good for men and women. Mm-hmm. So it's just more internationally, we got to catch up here and do a better job.
Yeah. The National Bank Open is going to reach equal pay, they say, in stages. So prize money for women will reach 60% of what men receive by 2025, 78% by 2026. With, again, the goal of pay equity in 2027. Will men's earnings remain the same as the women's move towards equaling them?
So in 2025, we go to this expanded model, as I talked about, going from a 7-day event to 12 days, which will allow for the commercialization and bring more revenues into the whole ecosystem for women's tennis. The men have already done this model, right? In 25, our men's event also goes to a bigger format as well, but there's a formula there for prize money. So we know what that will be for men's tennis for the next 30 years. The women's structure now will start matching that. Basically, our prize money this year at the event will be just under $3 million for the women, 6.5 for the men. But by 2027, both events will be 9.7 million US dollars for men and women's tennis in Canada.
There hasn't been a Canadian men's finalist in the Grand Slam since 2016. However, Bianca Andreescu became the first Canadian to win one at the U.S. Open 2019. We have Leylah Fernandez making the final there 2 years later. How do these achievements build the case for stronger pay equity?
Oh, it's completely a big part of this. Canadian tennis is doing so well on the international stage with the runs over a decade ago with Milos and Gini starting this big run. And now, as you mentioned, some amazing performances by the top players. Denis is playing today, Bianca's playing today, as is Leylah in doubles. Yeah. But Bianca winning our National Bank Open in 2019 was just the start of what this momentum is now for women's tennis in Canada. So Bianca doing so well and winning the U.S. Open raised the profile of our sport in Canada. So having the Canadian presence doing this is really helping with the momentum.
Glad to see Canada leading the way on this. Gavin, thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.